Thanks for tuning in, America. Before we start the show tonight, it is the 13th anniversary of 9/11, so we would just like to take a moment and remember the innocent lives lost on that fateful day. Alright, so tonight we're joined with wounded veteran of Iraq, Thomas Young, Professor Sal Giuliani of Harvard University. In our sister studio, we're joined with the Vice President of the NRA and author of Guns and Freedom, Jim Charles, and also liberal speaker and author of A Feminist Thought, Oliver Krvaric. So last night our president gave a speech about terrorism and the new baddie ISIS, where he basically stated that he was against military deployment and would rather use drone strikes. Mr. Young, you've spoken very loudly against the United States government because you say they are highly inefficient. What do you think of President Obama's decision?
I think any intervention at all is borderline criminal. It leads to further destabilization of a region already fraught with uncertainty. And I think that it harms the entire region and those who live there more than it could possibly help. My main concern is the lives of the innocent people who live there, who would be better off if they remained untouched from the Western imperialism.
Well, I think you're mistaken, Mr. Young, because I've studied foreign affairs for all over the world for many years now, and I believe that our capability to intervene in foreign countries and aid them in finding peace is what makes this country exceptional. And Fareed Zakaria, a journalist and author, stated in one of his articles that America has expanded her influence all over the world because she is great and exceptional.
And by influence, you mean killing numerous innocent men, women, and children, right? During the Iraqi campaign from 2003 to 2011, PLOS Medicine Survey determined that 405,000 civilian lives were lost due to American intervention.
Most military conflicts fought in history have had civilian casualties. If you look at the Vietnam War, over 2 million civilian casualties happened there. And then World War II, over 30 million casualties concerning civilians happened, which is 10 million more than military casualties.
So, Professor Giuliani, going back on your comment earlier, do you still think that America is exceptional?
Well, of course. I have 2 brothers fighting in Iraq, and my father was killed in 9/11, and like so many other men and women, they bravely took the call to action to fight for this country. And although we may not be the best in every category, our military is second to none, and our ability to invade a country to rid them of terrorism and terrorist groups like the Taliban or Al-Qaeda, who live off spreading fear among the innocent, is what makes us exceptional. So I do believe in American exceptionalism because we have young men and women who risk their lives every single day to rid the earth of these groups mentioned before. You know, there's bad guys out there and we need to get them.
As a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom, I've seen the horrors of war and all the greed that exists in American government. Similar to your brothers, I enlisted to take revenge, but we went to a country that had nothing to do with the terrorist attacks. We went there to get oil, that's all I have to say.
If I may add, I'm on the same boat as Mr. Young. I believe that America was exceptional because we did things that no other country did, but that's not the case anymore. Zakaria, I think, said it best in his article, Are America's Best Days Behind Us? He said that other countries are now playing the same game we are.
I believe Zakaria was talking about the American economy, right? Do you think the economy is the reason we're no longer exceptional?
I believe that we are no longer number one due to our inabilities to keep businesses from moving from America to China. Companies leave America due to labor prices. China is stealing our companies, and then in turn they steal the specific techniques and trades of the company.
China will never be on par with us on an economic scale because of the huge gap they would have to go through. A futurist states in his article why the US will still be the only superpower in 2030 that China would have to grow at 12% for the next 25 years while the US only needs to grow 3.5%. Even if China does accomplish this, they have to change their policies drastically. I would like to bring up the fact that without the economy of the United States, we would not have the technologies and inventions necessary for us today.
That article was written in 2006. Recent statistics taken by the Bureau of Economic Analysis suggest that the statistics you stated are actually false. The recent recession has slowed economic growth. Socioeconomically wise, the gap between the poor and the rich has never been larger. According to the Pew Research Center, 65% of Americans have seen this gap to have grown larger, and 20% believe it has at least stayed the
There
same.
will always be a gap. But according to D'Souza, a famous writer, the poor in America has provided a remarkably high standard of living for the common man. This is what makes our society and our economy different from others.
Well, what does America's socio-economic problems mean towards our ability to intervene in Syria? I mean, I guess the economy in general determines the support of American people.
The question isn't about American exceptionalism anymore. This country is no longer unique in comparison to other countries. That's that.
Mr. Young does have a point here, gentlemen. The issue here is, do we agree that America is still a superpower?
Of course we are. Our nation is built on the principles of international diplomacy. What other nation aids other nations faster than we do? The Blaze study found that the United States government spends approximately $38 billion for foreign aid in 2012.
America may not be exceptional in all cases such as gender equality, but this lack of uniqueness does not deprive the country of the ability to maintain its situation as a superpower.
Our country is exceptional. What other country gives us the same civil liberties that are...
Mr. Charles, we're done debating exceptionalism, which, may I add, is a thing of the past and something we need to get over with. We're talking about America's status as a superpower.
We are no longer exceptional, but this does not affect the fact that our country is still a superpower, whether the world wants to accept that or not.
We do live in an age where there's many American haters, but we still lead the world in diplomacy, and we still have major influences on worldwide economic markets. Like Iraq, we could help Syria bring peace to their people and continue the tradition of not standing idly by as innocent men, women, and children die.
We are indeed a superpower, but this does not mean we have to intervene in conflicts that do not directly affect us. Sending troops to Syria is putting American lives in danger.
Well, that's all we have for you folks. If you want to participate in this conversation, tweet at RealTalkCNN and use your First Amendment right. So,